Good morning, my people. I should say good afternoon because I was up all night watching everything that you were. I'm going to start off. We're not even going to get into the riots and all that because everybody is seeing what they're seeing. Let me get to what the people are asking for at the minimum. We know they're requesting that all 4 officers are arrested. Now, we know thousands and thousands of times when officers arrest you with just somebody saying that they think that you are somebody that did something. Like when those 2 vigilantes went after Aubrey, they thought that they said he was in the community a week before, so they're going to do a citizen's arrest. So the tomfoolery about this arrest is just nonsense. All right, let me tell you how you know it's nonsense. In a just regular murders where we don't have all this television, prosecutors always start with the highest degree and then let the defense try to argue lower and lower and lower. Okay, that's just how it's. You start at first degree, and then if they give you a second degree or third degree, then you say that's what you got. We started at the highest. But if they start already at the lowest degree, then and you have some who have nothing to balance with, that's like an all or nothing. So this is some tomfoolery that they're giving you right now. They have not even arrested the other 3 people. I looked this morning again before coming on to see if I could find a mugshot of Trayvon, and I have not seen a mugshot yet. So I'm not even sure, like I said, that he is even in prison or in a jail. He wouldn't be in prison right now. I also, from talking to the sister in Minnesota, the homes where the other 3 officers are, they're not in their homes. Okay. See, these are the things that they're not going to put directly on the news. Maybe they have them somewhere for their safety, but where they need to be for our safety is in the jail, waiting to be heard like every other person who goes out and is suspected of a crime. Well, we don't have to suspect they committed a crime. We all know that somebody died from somebody being on his legs, somebody being on his back, somebody being on his neck, and then an officer holding guard until his last breath. So the depraved mind is all for participated because every officer has the obligation, if they see another officer, to intervene and say, all right, you can get up now. Come on. I've seen plenty of officers yanking other officers as they had beaten somebody down for nothing. So I don't put a broad brush on every police officer. But this whole thought that, because I'm listening to some black prosecutors who are commentators on CNN saying, we don't want to overcharge, so because most of the time we don't get. No, do it like we do every other black person. You start charging with the highest charge, which is first degree murder. The jury gets to deliberate and say whether it's a second degree or third degree. Because if they don't have anything but one thing to choose from, see, in the minds of people who are not legal and you feel like you want to give something to this officer, all right, give them a choice of not giving the first degree and leave second and third degree as an option. You don't start off with the lowest degree of murder. When that EMT said that after he came over there and checked him that he had no pulse and he still kept his neck on there for two more minutes, that gave you the depraved mind I've been talking about for the last 4 days. 5 days, I don't know why they just came up with it last night. But so they are making sure that you are not clearly in the know about what the hell is going on. So they want Ellison, who used to be in Congress, now is the Attorney General of Minnesota. Okay, Keith Ellison is a Muslim brother who is the Attorney General in Minnesota right now. So they're asking for Keith Ellison to take over this case. Now, if Keith Ellison takes over this case, I'm just going to say bro, you got to do the right thing. Because if Keith Ellison takes over this case, he can change the degree of these charges. If he is the head prosecutor in charge, he can up the ante, because if you want to get balance, give first degree to the fool on his neck, and maybe you give second or third to the other two, or to Chow, who was just standing guard. But the conspiracy to commit a murder means everybody has agreed, and you don't have to say, okay, bro, I'm gonna commit a murder. Are you gonna commit the murder? No. Where you, by your actions, aid and abet the commission of a criminal act, you are as guilty as the person who does the act. Now, so if I have to explain this thing from day to day, once this stuff starts getting going, that's what I'll do. I will be your private legal commentator, because they talk. I mean, even people that I'm respecting on some of these channels who are prior prosecutors don't sugarcoat this. Some are saying the right thing, but every case, every single time a charge is done, the prosecutors have one goal, and that's for guilty. So that in most cases, okay? But you must start at the highest charge and give people a choice, because you are going to have sympathizers just because he's a police officer. So you may say, okay, I don't want to give him life in prison, but 25 to 30 is at least worth a man's life. Okay? I mean, even though that kind of nonsense, we don't get those kind of considerations. Ask that brother that killed that white woman. He got the same damn charge, but they charged him with first degree murder. The jury gave him third degree. See what I'm telling you? There's the one black man that was charged with murder in the whole history of Minnesota was given the choice of first. The jury was given the choice of first, second, and third degree, and they came back with third degree. So don't be bamboozled with, they only charge what they think they can prove. The depraved mind is not. It goes by we have what you call actus reus. That's the act, and the mens rea is what was your mental thought at the time. Now, once we realize that this man have reason to know him, it's personal. There's no way that they worked at the same, as a bouncer in the same club, which haven't worked for 17 years. They didn't tell you how many years that Floyd worked there, but they did tell you he stopped in 2019. What happened? I'm sure there's a story behind that, because the owner of the building, I'm not sure if they knew each other. If Chavin is a police officer, and his outside job is to be a bouncer at a club, in order for him to make sure that he is not involved in any illegality or people working in a place where he's working that are illegal. So we know for sure that based on that alone, to get a clearance to be a bouncer, you still have to go through the police department. They know that you're a bouncer, so that if you start throwing people out, police will come and arrest your ass. So there is all reason to believe that Chavin knew whose neck he was on. Because Chavin was still, to this day, up until this incident, was a bouncer at that club. It's the same club that Mr. Floyd George worked at. Now, what happened and how he stopped working there in 2019, we got to ask that question. Because it's just, it belies common sense to think that they did not know each other. And as I said, you guys, Minnesota is not like spilling over with black people. It's not like Brooklyn or the Bronx or Newark where, that there's a possibility they didn't know each other. Not if they worked in the same place. And even with the brother that was standing there, he's calling these officers by name. The one who's saying, like, man, are you going to let him die? You're going to kill him? You're killing him. Everybody, you cannot... don't get bamboozled. So my only thing I wanted to tell you guys today is there are a lot of people that got killed last night in different places. There's a lot of people who got injured last night in different places. So we got some breaking news going on. I can't read it backwards. What is it saying? More curfews. National Guard official anticipated more unrest. Yeah, they're not going to stop. So but we got to be very mindful of this martial law. They still were only using rubber bullets last night, but they was whooping that ass with them billy clubs. People were getting their ass beat last night. So all I'm saying, if you're willing to fight this war, know that there's a possibility of hurt and death. Anytime there's a war, there is almost a guarantee of injury and death. So if you're going out there, Go out there with that in mind, because you're not going to be able to sue no police departments and all of that kind of stuff, because there is a curfew that they're going to legally say, we told you not to go out there. So if you die among these crowds, or if you get permanently injured among these crowds, know that you have no civil actions that you'll be able to bring. I'm not saying not to participate in the unrest, but understand what your rights will or will not be. Okay, that's just the reality of it. There are law enforcement officers, black officers, who are speaking out. And let me tell you, some people always talk about why black police officers don't do this, why black police officers don't do that. Some black officers are complicit. But the one thing you have to understand, if you are an officer in a line of duty, and they think, which they do on most black officers, that you may not protect them, that officer is depending on that white man to protect his back when they are really in a situation of danger. And if they think that you are some sellout, trust and believe, if it's all officers there and you get friendly fired down, and all those white officers say, we don't know who shot him, everybody shot the gun, and this black officer happened to get down, nobody gonna know how that happened. Just like with us. So those black officers are in a compromising situation. Now, you're not going to get that in New York or Newark or places like that. If you get a black officer complicit in some nonsense, they're complicit because they want to be complicit, because they don't outnumber the white men on the police force. Now, they make sure that in these towns, you got a whole white brigade, but they always put a black man at the top, because the black man at the top is the one who's going to get all the retribution when shit ain't happening. So the one thing you need to know, police officers also don't make charges. This all goes down with the prosecutor's office. And you already have 45. He ain't said nothing about good people on both sides. All he talked about is riots, the riots and the thugs. And, when the looting starts, the shooting starts. So he already is in shooting mode. That's what 45 is. Because they were all up on the White House last night. They were all up on 1600 Avenue. If y'all have never been to Washington, 1600 Avenue is the address of the White House. 1700 Avenue, that's the front and the back by the Capitol building. So DC is up and on. All right, the Alexandria, Virginia, that's right over the other side of the water. That's in the white suburban area of DC, except that is actually Virginia. So what we have to do is, when you say what is it that these families want, I believe that you can get less tear up and more discussion if you just, if Minnesota, so my sister from Minnesota that I've now friended with, these officers, all four, are aiding and abetting a murder. So if you believe that there was enough for you to arrest the one who actually committed the murder, then those who are complicit in holding him down to assure that the murder happened, because if they were, when he was saying, one of his friends was saying, just get up, because from that side, he couldn't see that somebody's bit on his back and on his leg. He's saying, I can't. And so that's what he's saying. If he can talk to you, he ain't in distress. I mean, I got the transcript, and I keep forgetting to get it to read it to you, but y'all heard it. Y'all don't need me to read the transcript. The officers is talking shit to him as he's saying, please, stop begging. They tell him, stop begging. This man dying, and you're going to tell him to stop begging? If your life is you feel in your life roll out of you, this man's mother is not even living. So when he was calling his mother, he was already calling to heaven. He was already saying, I'm going to die. So he's calling his mother to receive him. And I know that those of you who may not be spiritual may not understand what I'm saying. His mother is not alive. His mother is dead. So when he was screaming mama, he knew that he was rising to transition into the other side. And so for those reasons alone, we have to stay focused. Personally, martial law, they can't arrest all of us at the same time. They can't arrest the whole country at the same time. So all I'm saying is be out there, be strategic, stand in your places, but don't move. They can't arrest everybody. And they're not going to be able to justify arresting people that are not moving. This is where I say do the Martin Luther King move, sit your asses down. Don't walk away. They definitely ain't going to start shooting you if you're seated. You can do this. You can do this in a way that does not allow them to stop you. If that many people sat down in the middle of the street blocking a major highway, they are not going to start shooting. Because if they do that, then I'm going to say, everybody black in America with a gun, get your ass to that state and start motherfucking plucking motherfuckers off. Because we got to defend ourselves. Because now we at war. And again, for all you shady motherfuckers out there who ready to throw my page on to the law enforcement, I'm gonna tell you right now, I ain't telling you to break no laws. I ain't telling you to break no laws, but I'm telling you to defend yourself when you are not being defended. Okay? You start shooting unarmed people while they're sitting down. See, because I'm barred to the Supreme Court, so I'm ready to take on anything as soon as they ask. I'm ready to take on any one of these cases. It's not that it ain't a whole lot of it ain't a whole lot of thought in arguing of anyone of you ever seen me argue a criminal case. I can tell you in the public defender's office. So all y'all out there, my fellow public defenders, tell them how many cases I ever lost, and I was a defense attorney. See, I got my ass on the bench because they were trying to get my ass out that public defender's office because I was whipping them prosecutors like they was my children. So I know how to try a case. So I know what they can do and know what they can't do. And the same reason why they didn't keep me on there because, they said by 7 years they're giving me, I'm a radical. Well, see, I'm still the same radical. But see, my ability, they're not going to keep you where they can't hurt you. So I was there long enough to do what I could, but just long enough for them to take away my ability to continue to help my community. But see, you can't stop me. Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. We can't stop, won't stop. But let us do this with some serious thinking. Go home, go into your organizations, because I read to you last night, it's about 200 or 300 white supremacist groups that are also planning for your black asses. They are also planning how they're going to best get your asses down without being seen. So what they do is they infiltrate into these crowds, busting up stuff. So every bullet, they got the same caliber guns as law enforcement do. So they start shooting. Let's say a Glock 9 is the gun of choice of most police departments. So if you shot with a Glock 9, they're going to assume that it was from a police officer. They can't tell which. Neither can you. If the police officers are using rifles, that's going to be questionable because police officers ain't out there with no machine guns. So if anybody start getting shot, with AK-47s, we know that that's some bullshit. So, but the reality of it is that these white supremacist organizations are going to all of these marches all over the country. I read to you, they are in every city that I named last night, and every one of those cities rioted last night. And what they're doing is coming in as provocateurs with more capability than you will ever be capable. I am telling you, black people, we are not sitting home making bombs, yet bombs are going off. We are not sitting home making Molotov cocktails in our house, which is gasoline inside of a jar, airtight. And as soon as you put a gasoline in an airtight, that's why gasoline is usually carried in a plastic container. That is how you make a bomb, because the fumes in the gas, as soon as it hits something, it ignites into a fire. I mean, because if you are on your computer doing some trace on how to make a bomb, they got you on cue right now because we're in high alert. When you get to a point where your freaking jackass right here is going to say shit where they got to start fact checking him in real time, you're not going to get no honesty. If Twitter got to fact check the lies of the president of the United States, you best to know they lying to you every day about everything. You can't believe nothing that they say. Nothing that they say. That's why we need to get as many boots on the ground for all of y'all who don't like Reverend Sharpton and all that bullshit from, y'all need to shut it down, okay? Because right now, he is the only one that's got a voice. And if that man is given the voice that we need, I am with him 1,000, 10,000%. Because, I love my Oprah, I love my Gail, I love, where are they? They ain't even got to come out their house. They got big ass TVs on. They were giving you all kinds of, how to do with your fresh gardens. Okay? Where is Khalid? Where is Charlemagne the God? I'm watching them brothers because I tell you, DL, he's got this shit going. You'll see them. But see, the people with real money and real power, I haven't heard anything from Tyler. They was down in Atlanta tearing shit up. Maybe I missed it. I'm going to go on Tyler's page because maybe I missed it, but I've been looking. See, because those of us in this country who has benefited off other black people giving you, supporting your cause, for positive things, for your movies and your apparels with Sean Diddy Combs, your concerts with your Beyoncés and your Cardi B's, all of y'all that was in that goddamn stupid ass "We Shall Overcome" song. Every last one of you has benefited off the black community with your careers, whether it be in music or entertainment. So if your people have benefited off of you, our people should also benefit off of your ability to have a megaphone much louder than they do. Cardi B and Beyonce, and since y'all so in love with the Kardashians, between the three of them, they had 400 million followers. They got so many pages that they have to have 4 or 5 pages on Instagram because they got too many followers. So if Cardi B and that goddamn the littlest Jenner, if they put out on their pages alone support for this case, they could get every young person in this country. So this is what you entertainers can do. Stop singing bullshit songs and start acting and using your voices in a manner that is going to be constructive. Jan Van Zandt, you're the guru of mediation, a resolution, and you're a lawyer. You want to fix something? This is the biggest broken thing we got, sis. See, because I could do all this, but I ain't got all them kind of contacts. But my thing is, it ain't about me either. But if my voice is as far I can get is on this screen and on my YouTube page and on my Twitter, then I'm going to do what I can do. But trust me, I am trying to get there so you can see I can get more voices than that comes on this page. I send it my stuff to NAACP. I send it to Essence. I send it to all of the black. But see, they don't want to get as raw as I am. I'm a little bit too black for them, and I don't understand because white folks ain't the most person who's buying Essence magazine. White folks ain't the most persons who looking at BET. That's us. So what are you afraid of? What are you afraid to lose? By having your own black radical, because they got their black radicals on Fox. See, it's not about being radical. So it's only radical when it comes from a black person. It's only radical when white people start getting scared. But see, as I said last night in my very creepy little go to sleep, the first Black Wall Street was in Tulsa. The first Wall Street, was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. 1921. It was an entire black community. We had our own schools, our own banks, our own airport, our own police department, our own post offices. We owned an entire community. And it came to a point when we were making more money per capita than they were in the white community. So what did they do? They came up with some bullshit story about a white man trying to rape a white woman. And from that, they came in and burnt down the entire town. Every house, every school, the airport, they vandalized. We had planes, we had airports. We had 2 airports, 2 all black airports. Tulsa, Oklahoma is where when you hear the word Wall Street came from a black community that was making more money per capita than the rest of the United States. And they came in and burnt the whole damn town down. So when Malcolm X was talking about, that separation, we tried that in 1921. There was enough of us who were being educated in between the white man's bullshit back in 1921. And they burnt down the whole goddamn town. So that whole separation shit, white people talking about they want to be separated because some of these are separatists in these segregated and these white supremacist groups. How are you going to segregate yourself in a land that ain't yours in the first place? You segregated the owners of this land, the Native Americans. You put them in the worst conditions that you can. You said, okay, we'll give you sovereignty. You do what you want. Yeah, they don't have no hospitals. They didn't even have no PPEs for the first fucking month of this pandemic. Okay, they had no television or communication to know that the pandemic was coming, and nobody was running to their community to let them know. So we may leave this pandemic without any more of a great number of Native Americans that live on reservations. See, they know what they're doing. The genocide and fix is in. Okay, and the genocide is going to be a part of how many of you catch coronavirus, whether you have it or didn't have it. They may send some other freakers out there with coronavirus who they know tested positive and just didn't tell them. Because people were going to get, they're going by masses to get tests to make sure they don't have it, then try to go out there and get it. How many of them think that they're going to tell you got coronavirus if they know you're going out here to do some marching? Come on, this conspiracy is so wide threaded and so convoluted. The average person will not be able to differentiate the good, the bad, and the ugly. But what we can do is what I started off. You can make an arrest of all 5 just by that video alone. They don't need nothing else. Anything that they're talking about right now is bullshit. There's more than enough for an arrest. You start with the highest charges you can. First degree, let the jury decide whether it's second degree or third degree. Let the jury decide if it's reckless by Tao standing there being guard, knowing that there's murder. Now, Tao probably got the best chance of a third degree, but still a third degree. The other 3, those are first degree. All 3 of the people, the person on the neck, if you gave him first and the other 2 second, maybe. But the other 2, in order for him to stay on the neck and keep his body down, they had to hold him down because that's a big man. So just holding his neck alone with his hands behind him, if they were not on his back and on his legs, he could possibly have moved his body in some sort of way. But because you paralyze his body by holding his back and his legs, you are complicit to the first degree murder. I could teach that to a first year criminal law student and give them that much information and send them in the courtroom and let them win the case. I do this for a living. This is what I do. So when I'm watching, I'm not giving you my legal opinion. I'm giving you law. They have not tried to do what the highest. If 45 can sit there and actually have Bill Barr dismiss somebody who admitted to a crime, do y'all think that they give a shit about y'all? Come on. They are giving pardons to motherfuckers for all kinds of nonsense. Shit that you know about, don't know about because you don't know who they are, and they're just getting out of jail on pardons. And no president start pardoning people the first year they go in. Every president in the past has made pardons as the last thing they do. President Obama made pardons the last day in office. The last day in office. This motherfreaker start pardoning motherfreakers the first month he came in. Now, I don't need to tell you that when Jeff Sessions was in there, Jeff Sessions basically made a blanket law that almost said that you cannot indict a police officer in the line of duty. So let me let you know what we're dealing with. Beauregard Sessions, the first attorney general on the federal level, indicated that police cannot be charged while in the line of duty. So right now, these 4 police officers have now been fired, which is what the mayor understood. So he did it as immediately as possible. So they're no longer police officers. You can charge them. But a police officer who is actually still a police officer on the federal level, Jefferson Beauregard Sessions basically came in the cavalry and said you cannot charge a police officer if he murders somebody in line of duty. I'm telling you, they done did some shit that y'all ain't even thinking about. So now you have Barr that's coming in because the mayor acted as fast as he could and fired them. Gave the open rein for now the police officer and the prosecutors and the attorney general can do what's right. So he's bamboozled. Do not give your no negative animus to this guy who is the Minnesota mayor. That Amy Klobuchar, didn't I tell you she was going to come out and try to do some bullshit apology? F Amy Klobuchar. If Biden right here, if he don't choose somebody I'm telling you, I think Val Demings out of Florida. That's my choice. Okay, she was a police officer. Okay, I want Val Demings. She was the chief of police of Orlando, Florida. I want Val Demings. Okay, because my daughter's been in school for the last 3 years. I know about Val Demings. Now, Stacey, I wanted you like I wanted to breathe, but right now we need somebody that is way more tough than Biden. Now, you're more intellectually astute, and probably if something happens and Val Demings have to become president, then pick Stacey. 2 black women at the same time. Oh, this is gonna be funny. But that's a dream thought that just came out real quick. Because I don't know how long this is this man's brothers. They've been asking for some justice for some time. So I'm going to end because you know I'm coming back sometime at the end of the day. The fix ain't necessarily in yet. These people, I need you to continue these protests. Now, you haven't heard me say this before, but continue these protests until we get all 4 locked up and a first-degree charge. I want them all charged with first degree. All a conspiracy to commit murder. Because we know that Chauvin knew whose neck he was on. We don't know the backstory of why I don't know whether he left voluntarily from the place where he and Mr. Floyd worked at. We don't know that story, so somebody needs to get to the owner of that club and clear that little piece up. Because if he had anything to do with him not working at that club, then there's a whole backstory that we don't know about. But you got to ask this question. Why are these 4 officers' residents are right now completely empty? Their homes are completely empty. Where are they? Why haven't we seen a perp walk? Why haven't we seen fingerprints? And you go online, you will see a picture of just his head up. That's not a arrest picture. You see an arrest picture, you got that number in front of you. Because remember, when you become a criminal, you're no longer a person. You got a number. We ain't seen no perp walk picture. We ain't seen him in no cuffs. And based on information I received, he has a home in Florida. They say he airbagged out of his house. Nobody saw him in a police car. They had 50 police officers guarding his house in gun and military gear. And then his house was empty. His address is empty. His wife has already filed for a divorce. She went her way, and wherever he is, that's where he is, and she ain't wanting to be a part of. So there's more than what you see that's going on. Those other 3 officers are not in their homes. Where are they? Where are they? So these are the kinds of questions that we want. Yeah, so you got the numbers. The numbers are going up. Registered supporters voting, if it held today, they're saying 87% would be Trump and 74%. When did that happen? Registered voters supporting Trump, 87%. Now, how did those numbers change backwards in this week? Don't you find that a little strange? See, that's what they count on. They count on you dying, killing, getting arrested, and not voting. So if you're like me at your house, which most of us are probably at home, we got to be there to vote. We got to keep ourselves here to vote, because they are trying to get as many people arrested, as many people dead, as many people sick, so y'all don't vote. There's a system behind the madness. They're going to let y'all come out there in the middle of a pandemic. They're going to have on gas masks, so they ain't worried about trying to get you a coronavirus. But if they can get you dead or get you in jail, then you won't have a vote. All right, deuces, y'all. See you later on.